5 years after the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2334, international accountability to end the Israeli occupation is more important than ever. An article you can find on a United Nations website. This is your favorite half Chinese. Now I see the Western media trying to give it another spin, painting the Israeli as the victim. While the truth of the matter is that Hamas is trying to reclaim the land that Israel occupies since 1967. This was a horror story long in the making, through a lot of pain and suffering of the Palestinians. Now let me be clear, I still never agree with violence, but I can understand what they are doing. This was a disaster waiting to happen. How long does it take to push Palestinians over the edge? I guess we have our answer now. Living under inhumane oppression from 1967 till this very day. Let me tell you, I would have been pushed over that edge a very, very long time ago. Was this necessary? It was totally not necessary if Israel would not have been occupying them and denying the Palestinians basic needs to have a normal life. It has been well documented that these poor innocent Palestinians were heavily oppressed by a great weapon customer of the United States, and therefore they could pull it off. Because if you buy weapons from the United States, you get a free pass to abuse human rights, as we all have witnessed since 1967. Most of you were not even born, and yes, that also includes even me. Just imagine that most of the people, if not all, in Palestine were born under heavy oppression by the Israeli and never ever knew a life where they were really free and did not have to fear for their lives. So this was bound to happen. It is only human nature. One can only oppress a human for just so long. And as we also know by now, our Western media never really cared. Isn't that amazing? Since 1967, Israel was occupying those parts and abusing the human rights of these Palestinians living on their land. And our media kept quiet. But now they are calling the Palestinians terrorists and give a free pass to Israel to commit war crimes. Yet we have to feel empathy for the abuser and none for the victim. It is another chance for people to wake up and see how our Western media is nothing more than a propaganda tool and always is trying to mislead us at best. Look at the language. When Israelis were attacked, they say killed. When it concerns Palestinians, they say they died. Now it looks like a small thing, but it really is not. It changes the view and perception for you in your head before you have the time to investigate and form your own opinion voluntarily. As when they try to change it for you, your opinion has not been established voluntarily, and therefore you are not free of mind. And that in itself should actually be a crime against humanity. I hope the Westerners would open their eyes now. You do not live in a free world, as your mind has been taken hostage by the ones who you should be able to trust the most, your government and media. They show horrible pictures and even videos on Instagram of Israelis being unalived, or at least that is what they should represent. Because I don't know if those videos are true or not, because our media is constant lying. While my post of 2 pictures showing the United States on one side and the nice street in Shanghai on the other side with the text socialism and capitalism is against their terms of service. But unaliving people in videos seems to be not. As a big consumer of Western media, I can't even say if those videos are real. I don't dispute that they are or not. I just don't know, because that's what you get when they lie every single time. But then when Israel strikes with their bombs all over the place, look at those videos. We don't get to see those pictures and videos of the victims. And for good reasons. They do not want you to be appalled by the terror inflicted on the Palestinians. They want you to think that this is some imaginary religious war by Muslims inflicted on the Jews. While in this case, Muslims literally have nothing to do with this other than that there are Muslims fighting and dying similar to Jews and Christians and all other sorts of religious and non-religious people in that region. See how they create more Islamophobia. How many Muslims, and this is my question, and I want the Western people to think about this, how many Muslims will be attacked in the West because of this? This is about the freedom for Palestinians, not about religion. Whether you agree with the measures they took or not agree with them, we should still uphold the truth. Otherwise, we can never get to a solution. Let me read a part from the United Nations. Resolution 2334, adopted by the Security Council on 23 December 2016, stated that Israeli settlements constitute a flagrant violation under the international law. Just think of that. We started wars on so many other countries who didn't do anything of this. But we left Israel alone. Now, I'm not saying that we need to intervene, but also nobody pressured them. And literally nothing has been done. Anyway, let's continue. And said that all settlements, activities, and in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem, must immediately and completely cease. The resolution said the expansion of settlements threatens the viability of a two-state solution, and international law must govern the occupation and the relations between Israel and the Palestinians. It also called on states to distinguish between the territory of the State of Israel and the territories Israel has occupied since 1967. If this resolution had been actually enforced by the international community and obeyed by Israel, we would most likely be on the verge of a just and lasting peace, the special rapporteur said. Instead, Israel is in defiance on the resolution. Its occupation is more entrenched than ever. The violence it employs against the Palestinians to sustain the occupation is rising, and the international community has no strategy to end the world's longest military occupation. Well, we were really quick with Syria, Libya, Iraq, Libya, and all the other countries that we invaded, and did these so-called military interventions or whatever they want to call it. But not with this. All this time we cannot figure out a single thing. I found it very hard to believe. I call this Western hypocrisy. The special rapporteur noted that in the 20 reports delivered to the Security Council since the resolution was adopted, the Secretary General or his representative have stated on each occasion that Israel has not complied with any of the direction of the Security Council. Link said, is it not clear by now that the Israeli political leadership has no interest and no incentive to end the occupation? One statistic, above all, illustrates the remarkable unwillingness of the international community to enforce its own directions respecting the Israeli occupation. The UN expert said in 2016, when Resolution 2334 was adopted, there were an estimated 400,000 Israeli settlers in the West Bank and 218,000 in East Jerusalem. 5 years later, there are 475,000 settlers in the West Bank and 230,000 in East Jerusalem, an increase of 12%. This dynamic reality on the ground is racing far ahead of the international community's tepid criticism of Israel's unlawful conduct. Anyways, it's a very sad story. Let me know what you guys think of all this, and especially how you think the media portrays it. And shouldn't they stop lying to us? But please keep it respectful. We are not savages, unlike some others. Please give it a like, share, and as always, have a great day.